The drama surrounding Browns owner Jimmy Haslam's reported emergency meeting to discuss firing head coach Kevin Stefanski after that. Humiliating loss to the New England Patriots has shaken the entire fan base to its core. What was supposed to be another regular game turned into a complete nightmare, one so disastrous that it forced ownership to question the very direction of the franchise. For Cleveland fans, this felt all too familiar. Another season full of promise unraveling into chaos. Another coach under fire. Another moment where the Browns' supposed progress vanished before everyone's eyes. But this time it hit differently. Because this wasn't just a bad loss, this was an embarrassment so deep it apparently forced Haslam himself to step in behind closed doors. Reports started trickling out just hours after the Patriots' debacle. Sources inside the organization hinted that Haslam had called an unscheduled meeting with top executives and Stefanski immediately following the game. The tone, they said, was grim. Words like accountability, leadership, and direction were reportedly thrown around like grenades. Haslam, a man known for his fiery impatience and history of pulling the trigger quickly on coaches, was said to be furious. Not just at the scoreline, but at how lifeless, unprepared, and directionless the Browns looked from the opening kickoff. And this wasn't just another disappointing Sunday. It was a mirror held up to every failed promise and every repeated mistake this franchise has made for decades. For a while, it seemed like Kevin Stefanski had finally stabilized things in Cleveland. He brought discipline, structure, and a system that looked sustainable. He won Coach of the Year in 2020, brought the team its first playoff win in nearly 3 decades, and gave fans something to believe in. But as time passed, the sheen began to wear off. His offense grew stale, his play calling increasingly predictable, and his leadership came under fire. Every week, the Browns looked like a team with no identity, stuck between a rebuild and a win-now roster. And after the Patriots' blowout, that illusion of stability collapsed entirely. Inside team headquarters, the atmosphere was reportedly tense. Haslam's meeting wasn't about discussing one bad game. It was about questioning whether Stefanski had lost the locker room altogether. Players were seen leaving the stadium visibly frustrated, some shaking their heads, others refusing to speak to the media. Sources claim Haslam asked hard questions: why the offense still can't find rhythm, why the defense continues to misfire in critical moments, and why, after years of top draft picks and major signings, the Browns still look unprepared and uninspired. It wasn't just a critique, it was an interrogation of leadership itself. For fans, this was déjà vu all over again. The Browns have cycled through more head coaches than any team in modern football history. From Hugh Jackson to Freddie Kitchens to Mike Pettine, every new regime begins with optimism and ends with disappointment. And now many fear that Kevin Stefanski might just be the next name on that long, miserable list. Because once Haslam starts calling meetings like this, history says it doesn't end quietly. But let's look at the context. The Patriots game wasn't just bad, it was historically bad. The Browns' offense sputtered like a car running out of gas with missed opportunities, dropped passes, and questionable play calling. Defensively, it was even worse. Missed tackles, blown coverages, and a complete lack of energy defined the day. Even the broadcast commentators noted that the team looked defeated from the opening drive. Fans took to social media demanding answers. Fire Stefanski began trending on X, formerly Twitter, within an hour. It wasn't just the loss, it was the way the team quit that infuriated people. And if we're being honest, Jimmy Haslam has every reason to be frustrated. He's poured millions into this roster, traded for Deshaun Watson in one of the most controversial deals in NFL history, and sold fans on the promise that this was finally Cleveland's time. But instead of ascending to greatness, the team has regressed. Deshaun Watson's performances have been inconsistent, the offensive line is collapsing, and the coaching staff looks lost. Haslam's patience has run thin before, and those who followed the Browns long enough know what comes next when the owner's frustration reaches its boiling point. Reports suggest that during the meeting, Haslam challenged Stefanski directly on accountability. Insiders claimed the owner questioned whether the coaching staff had lost touch with its players, citing a noticeable lack of effort on the field. Some sources even allege that Haslam raised the possibility of making drastic changes if things didn't turn around immediately. While there's been no official statement from the team confirming any of this, the silence itself speaks volumes. When an owner refuses to publicly back his coach after a humiliating loss, it usually means those conversations are very real. What makes this even more intense is Stefanski's complicated relationship with the Browns' front office. He's seen as analytical, reserved, and by the book, traits that once made him the ideal hire to bring order to Cleveland's chaos. But now, those same qualities are being framed as weaknesses. Players have quietly expressed frustration with his emotionless approach. Fans complain that he's too robotic, too unwilling to adapt, and too married to his playbook. And in a league that thrives on passion, grit, and fire, Stefanski's calm demeanor has started to look like apathy. Meanwhile, Jimmy Haslam has built a reputation as one of the NFL's least patient owners. He's never shied away from firing coaches or executives when things go south. Since taking over the team, he's cycled through multiple front offices and 8 head coaches. So when news broke that he was holding a private meeting to evaluate leadership, most Cleveland fans didn't see it as speculation. They saw it as the beginning of the end, and then came the leaks. Rumors that the team's top decision-makers had already begun discussing potential replacements. Names like Ben Johnson, Eric Bieniemy, and even Jim Harbaugh started floating around fan discussions. Whether those are realistic or not doesn't even matter. What matters is that the conversation has already shifted from how to fix Stefanski to who comes next. And that tells you everything about where this story is headed. To make matters worse, the locker room is reportedly divided. Some players still respect Stefanski and believe in his long-term vision. Others think his system has run its course. Sources close to the team claim that communication between the coaching staff and players has broken down in recent weeks, leading to confusion on the field and tension off it. And when an NFL locker room starts to split like that, it's usually the coach who takes the fall. Right now, the Browns are at a crossroads. Haslam faces a difficult decision. Stick with a coach who once brought stability, but now seems to have lost the spark, or start over, again, and risk another full rebuild. The fan base is exhausted, the players seem unsure, and the league is watching closely. Every move Haslam makes now will define the next chapter of this franchise. Because if he fires Stefanski mid-season, it will signal another complete reset. But if he doesn't, he'll have to own the fallout if things continue to spiral. And as for Kevin Stefanski, he's running out of lifelines. Publicly, he stayed composed, preaching accountability and growth. Privately, insiders say he's frustrated by the lack of execution and the constant noise. He knows that one more humiliating loss could be the one that seals his fate. Because in Cleveland, patience is a luxury, and right now there's none left. So what happens next? Does Haslam pull the trigger and make a change before the season collapses completely? Or does he give Stefanski one last chance to prove he can lead this team out of the darkness? Either way, the message has been sent. The clock is ticking, the pressure is suffocating, and one more failure might just end it all. If you're following this saga as closely as we are, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single update. What do you think? Should Haslam finally fire Stefanski after this disaster? Or does the coach deserve one more shot to turn things around? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, because this story is far from over, and Cleveland's next move might just define their entire future.